Hi everyone, Amanda here from the Archer and Olive Ambassador team. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 ideas for art journal pages that you can do in around 10 minutes. Life can be busy and sometimes you may feel like you don't have a lot of time to journal, but hopefully these ideas will help you to keep up a creative routine. Make sure to take a look at the blog post with this video and subscribe to Archer and Olive for more tips and tutorials. Let's get started. For supplies, you're going to need a journal. The journals I'm using is an A5 and an A6 journal, as you can see here. They're by Archer and Olive. I like using journals that have a thicker paper as I tend to work with more mixed media and paint, so it helps to have a journal with a higher GSM. These journals have a GSM of 160, so they're very good. You can use code Amanda's Work for 10% off your Archer and Olive orders. For the first page, we're going to use some paint and some tape. I'm going to be using acrylic paint and we're going to do some finger painting. I like to tape off the edges of my page because it makes things look a little bit more crisp and neat, but that of course is optional. I'm also doing this finger painting with my non-dominant hand just to spice things up. All you need to do is fill up your page with paints. Just work very swiftly, very fast, very loose. I'm not counting drying time because we all know that that can take longer than 10 minutes, but this should take you not too long to fill up the page with as many colors as you can. Remember that these pages are all about getting over the fear of your blank page and getting your creativity going. Once you fill this up, you can put it to the side and let it dry. Don't think too much about it and go do something else. Once the paint is mostly dry, you can start to remove the tape. Just go very gently with it. And then you are basically done. You can either leave it like this or you can add some writing. You can add some drawings. I'm adding a little butterfly in here. And I'm also still doing this with my non-dominant hand just to keep things interesting. And there you go. There's one idea that you can do in your journal. For this next page, all you are going to need is a pencil and a coloring tool of your choice. You can use markers, crayons. I will be using the Archer and Olive calligraphs to fill up this page. I'm making a checkerboard or a grid like shape, and then I'm going to fill them all in with doodles and colors. In each square, I'm going to be adding a shape and a face to it and then filling it in with different colors. This is a great way if you want to test out some color palettes. You can keep a very limited number of colors that you want to use and test them out to see how they interact with each other. It's also just a really great way to practice drawing some faces, doodling expressions. Remember, you don't need to be spending a lot of time doing this. You want to do this in only 10 minutes, so work fast and see what you can make. The calligraphs work really nicely for the page like this because they have the dual tips on them, so you can use the thicker ones to fill in big shapes like this, and then when you want to have a more detailed brush, you can use the thinner side to do things like the details of the eyes and the faces. This one can also be very customizable. If you want to spend a bit more time, you can make your squares a lot smaller, but if you want it to be done faster, make your squares bigger. It really is up to you on how you want to do it. My third idea for you is very simple, but it is a fantastic way to change things up in your journal. I'm using a craft knife and I'm putting a piece of paper in between so that it will not cut through to the next page. But all you're going to do is cut out a shape in your page. You can use that page for future projects or whatever you want to do, but just doing this little thing can really just change the way you see your journal. Now remember, of course, that you're working fast and this is a sharp knife, so be careful, and that's why I have the piece of paper underneath just to keep things protected. But once you have that done, now you're ready to do whatever you want to do. It's just a great way to unleash a whole new way to tell a story on the page. I'm using some water-soluble crayons here to just start off with my background and see where it takes me. But there really is so many new directions that you can take this. I've just recently started doing this in my own journals, and I'm really excited to see what I can do with it next. The one thing with using these watercolor crayons is that they do take a little bit of time to dry, but if you don't want to have to deal with that, you can use things like oil pastels, pencil crayons where there is no drying to it, and then you can just keep on going and flowing with your art. The whole point of this video is to give you ideas that can get you started and flowing, and if they help you to get into a flow state with your art, that is great. This was a page for me where I definitely had to trust the process. I had started out with this background and I didn't really know what I was doing with it, but as I went along with it, I trusted the journey and I got to something that I was very happy with. So remember that you're just there to start, and hopefully as you go along, you'll start to figure out what you want to do with a page and see where it takes you. The fourth idea I have for you is to make a collage. This is one of the easiest ways to get over a blank page, is to just put down some paper and get to writing. I know we always keep extra scrap papers handy. We have lots of collage paper, so grab whatever you have, all your stickers, all of your extra things, and just make a quick collage. I really like to use the scrap pages from books. I picked up some from the thrift store, and that's a really great way to have backgrounds. I kind of went for a little bit of a circus theme with this one, just because I had some specialty circus themed stuff that I wanted to include in it, and I think it turned out really cute, and it did not take any time at all. This one was probably the fastest one that I did out of all the pages, and it's just super easy to do. Collage work can be so interesting because it truly is so unique to you. The way that you arrange your papers can only be done by you. No one else will do it the same, and that is awesome. Lastly, we're going to do a little bit of work with some ink pads and just creating textures on a page. Once again, the blank page can be so fearful and can hold us back, but once you get some texture on there, it can really help to unleash your creativity and give you some new ideas. Here I am using some Play-Doh. You can also use things like clay or even some paper if you have that. And I'm filling it up with some ink. Once I have made a texture for this one, I just did some of my fingerprints, but there's many things that you can do for this. You can use the back of a paintbrush, the back of your pens. You can take it outside and make some marks on trees. Just bring it inside and then use the ink pad to get that texture onto the paper. This stamping idea works really well because the ink does not take very long to dry at all, and there's just so many different combinations that you can do. If you go on a walk and do this stamping technique, there's so many things that you can find, and it's just a very fun thing to do. My only advice for this is to make sure you get a lot of ink onto your stamp. You don't want things to show up blank on your page, so make sure you go extra heavy with the ink and press really hard when you go and put it on the page, and you'll get a really cool stamp. Once I had that first layer down with the stamp, I kind of had a few things I wanted to add on, but not too much. I've really learned that less is more sometimes, so you know when to stop. And this one I finished pretty quickly as well. Just added a few more little things to finish up the page. I just finished the page off by adding a little bit of words. Sometimes you don't really need a lot. The page can speak for itself, and I really like how this one turned out. So there are my 5 ideas for you. Remember that it's okay if things take a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. It's all about having some inspiration for your journaling and to get over the struggle of a blank page. I hope you have found some inspiration here for your own journaling. Once again, make sure you are subscribed to the Archer and Olive channel for more tips and tutorials. Thanks for watching and happy journaling.